Yeah, so let me make him co-host. So wait is over, friends. Rob is with us. Yes. Give me a minute. So let me find him again. Can you? Yes, he's here. So now ready, friends? Before we begin our session, I bow in deep reverence to all my gurus and divine guides for their guidance and blessing on this special journey. Welcome, Rob, Atvandan, and welcome everyone. So let me add him in. Yes, now he's here. So again, welcome everyone to this special session at PSSM Divine Shine. Today we have Robert Schwartz with us.
Oh, I
So it's
thought
an
you had more to
honor.
say.
Yeah,
You
so
want to get
it's an
started?
honor to have Mr. Robert Schwartz, the author of transformative books, The Soul's Plan, Your Soul's Gift, and Your Soul's Love, which explore how we plan our life challenges even before birth. He is an hypnotist who helps people heal and understand their life plan through between life soul regressions. It's truly an honor to have him here today. A part of our PSSM Divine Shine workshop, we have been studying your soul's gift, and today we have the golden opportunity to learn directly from the author himself. So, Rob has helped many people connected with their soul's wisdom and past life memories, guiding them to understand the deeper meaning behind their experience. His work has transformed how we perceive karma, challenges, and healing. Rob is truly a privilege to have you with us today. We are eager to hear your insight and gain a deeper understanding our soul's journey. On behalf of my entire team, I warmly welcome you with respect and love. I request everyone to give me in giving him a warm welcome with a big round of applause. Yes, friends. So now, without further delay, Rob, I now hand over the platform to you. The session is all yours. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with all.
I just can you make yourself unmute? So
Sorry about that. I said it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with all of you tonight. And please wave if you can hear me. I just want to make sure everybody can
yeah,
hear me.
it's
Okay,
clear.
good.
Yes.
So, as you know, I researched a subject called pre-birth planning, which is how we plan our lives before we come into body, before we incarnate. And what I did in my 3 books is that I went through basically all the major challenges we face here in the Earth School, and one by one in case study format, I showed why somebody planned this difficult experience before they were born. So the intentions of the work are to help people awaken, help them to see the deeper spiritual meaning and purpose of their biggest challenges, and help them to heal from those challenges. I want to start by talking about what I found in my research for the books, the 5 main reasons why we ourselves plan big challenges before we're born. The first reason is balancing and releasing karma. Now, balancing and releasing karma are not the same thing. Balancing karma means you plan to have a new experience that energetically offsets a previous experience. Releasing karma means you heal the underlying tendency that created the karma in the first place. So in other words, if all you do is balance karma without also releasing it, you'll just end up recreating the same karma over and over again. Karma, as I understand it, is a feeling of incompletion or unbalanced energy. So let's take an example. Let's say that 2 people had a past life together in which one was ill and the other was the caregiver. When those two people transition back into spirit and have their life review, as we always do at the end of an incarnation, they'll see the caregiving relationship portrayed in the life review. When they see this, they may or may not feel complete with that kind of relationship. If they feel complete with it, then as I understand it, there is no karma. If they feel incomplete for any reason, the feeling of incompletion is the karma. So let's say they feel that way, how can they balance the karma? Well, the easiest, simplest, most direct thing to do is to trade places. So in the next lifetime, the one who was ill will be the caregiver, and the one who was the caregiver will face the challenge of illness. What makes this so interesting and so challenging, I think, is that when those two souls get back into body, they won't remember the pre-birth plan just as the rest of us don't. So the challenge becomes, how do we give and receive love unconditionally in these very difficult circumstances of self-induced amnesia? And when I talk about giving and receiving love, you know, the flow of love in the world is circular in nature. If you cut the circle in half the circle is giving love to other people. We all try to do this and we all believe this is a good thing to do, but it's actually only half the circle. The other half is receiving love from other people. So if you block other people from giving love to you, if you don't receive it, you're actually blocking the flow of love in the world just as effectively as if you never give love to anybody else. And this, I think, is what makes the challenge of coming into body and having amnesia about the pre-birth plan so very difficult. So that's the first reason, is balancing, releasing karma. The second main reason why we plan big challenges for ourselves before we're born is healing. And I'll give you an example from my first book, Your Soul's Plan. In Your Soul's Plan, there's a story of a soul, her name is Penelope, who is born completely deaf in both ears. And in working with one of the mediums, we go into Penelope's pre-birth planning session, and we actually heard the conversation she had with her spirit guide when the deafness was planned. And what we found out is that in the lifetime immediately previous to this one, she had the same mother she has in this lifetime. And when she was a little girl in that past life, she heard her mother shot to death by the mother's boyfriend. Now, she didn't actually witness the murder, but she heard it. And as you can imagine, she was traumatized, so much so that it led to suicide later in that lifetime. So she returned to spirit with what you could call an energy of unhealed trauma, which now has to be healed. In the pre-birth planning session, her spirit guide says to her, "My dear, would you prefer to be born deaf so that no similar trauma will happen to you again, and so that you can complete your healing from the last lifetime?" And she says, "Yes, that is what I want and what I wish to do." And then what follows is a fascinating dialogue in which she and her guide work out the details of the deafness. That's reason number 2 for planning big challenges before we're born, healing. The third reason is service to others. Probably all of you have heard of the concept of oneness. This is the idea that there's actually only one being in existence in the universe. It's you, it's me, it's all of us. Each of us is an individualized expression of the one. This orientation towards service, which I have seen in literally every pre-birth plan I've ever looked at, it's always there, I think is a natural expression of oneness consciousness, which is our natural state when we're back on the other side. So in other words, let's say that you and I are back on the other side, and we're planning a lifetime together, and you perceive that I am literally you. It's not just a concept the way it is here. You actually experience that I am literally you. Then, of course, you will want to be of service to me. And conversely, if I experience that you are literally me, then, of course, I will want to be of service to you. So this orientation towards service, which is in everybody's pre-birth plan, I think is a natural expression of oneness consciousness, which is our natural state when we're back on the other side. That's the third reason for planning challenges. The fourth is a desire to experience contrast. And let me explain what I mean by that. The non-physical realm that we come from, as I understand it, is a realm of complete love and light. So in that realm, there's no contrast to the love or to the light. We as souls are made literally from the energy of unconditional love. So if we're in this realm of only love, and if we ourselves are love, that means we experience no contrast to ourselves, which in turn means we don't fully understand who or what we are. We don't understand truly what unconditional love really is. So the reason we come here to Earth, and one of the reasons why we plan big challenges, is that here in the Earth School, there's a lot of what you could call not love, a lot of contrast. And by experiencing the not love, by the time you go home at the end of a lifetime, you understand much more deeply what unconditional love is, which is another way of saying you have a much more profound self-knowing. I know this is a somewhat abstract concept. So to make it more accessible, I like to borrow an analogy from a book other than one of my own. Probably some of you have heard of the Conversation with God books by the American author Neil Donald Walsh. This is a series of books in which the author Neil speaks with God, and then he transcribes what God told him. In one of these books, the subject of experiencing contrast comes up. And God asks Neil to explain it using the analogy of the white room, which goes like this. Imagine that you are a white being in a white room. So you are white. The ceiling is white. The floor is white. All the walls around you are white. Everything in this room is white, including you. Now, if you are such a being in such a room, how do you know that you're white? The answer is that you don't. And in fact, you actually can't until you experience something that is other than white. Then once you've had that experience, then you understand much more deeply what it means to be a white being in a white room. This, I think, is what the soul is doing here on the physical plane. We are love. We are in this realm of only love. We therefore experience no contrast to ourselves. We therefore don't understand who or what we really are. And so we come here for the contrast, the not love, because through that experience, by the time you go home, you understand much more deeply what unconditional love is, which means you know who and what you are. That's the fourth reason, experiencing contrast. And the fifth and final reason, strictly speaking, this is a subset of number 2, healing, but it's so important I like to break it out as a separate item of its own. And that is healing or correcting false feelings or false beliefs about oneself. And let me explain how this works. Almost everybody has had at least one past life, and usually many, in which certain things happened that caused you to pick up a false feeling or false belief about yourself. When I say false, I mean false from the perspective of your soul. Two of the most common false beliefs or feelings about self are one, that one is powerless, and two, that one is unworthy or perhaps even worthless. If you feel or believe yourself to be powerless, unworthy, or worthless, to your soul that feels discordant. In other words, your soul knows that that isn't true. And your soul wants you to heal or release a false feeling or false belief. So how do you do that? Well, here in the third dimension where we are, what will happen is you will call or magnetize to yourself experiences in the external world that seem to confirm the false feeling or false belief. This is actually a fundamental function of life in the third dimension. The world is set up to mirror you back to you so that you can find out what lies within your consciousness, even if it's subconscious. And if there's something there that's in need of healing, bring it to the light of conscious awareness so that you can set about healing it. So again, if you feel or believe yourself to be powerless, unworthy, or worthless, you will magnetize or draw to yourself experiences that seem to confirm the false feeling or false belief. Now, I realize what I've just described might sound harsh and perhaps even punitive, but I can assure you the universe's intention is not to be harsh or punitive. The universe is loving. And what it's trying to do in its infinite love for you is mirror you back to you so that, again, you can find out what's within your consciousness. And if there's something there that's false, that's discordant to the soul, you become aware of it, and then you can heal it. That's the fifth reason: healing of false feelings or false beliefs about oneself. So that, in a nutshell, is what I found in my books. Now, if you're wondering, how did I research people's pre-birth plans? That's a good question. In two ways. One, working with mediums or channels who in one way or another could access that kind of information. And then the second way is the form of hypnosis I practice, which is called a between lives soul regression, or BLSR. So a BLSR is a long journey. It's about 2 hours to do it. It starts with some preliminary steps to help you relax physically and mentally. And then I guide you into a past life. And by the way, you can do it as a private session or in one of the group workshops that we have online on a regular basis. When you get into the past life, it's almost always a past life that had a big impact on the plans for the current lifetime, or is in some way thematically related to the current lifetime. You experience several different scenes in the past life, the last of which is the death scene. You leave the body in the death scene and cross back over to the other side, which is a very easy and gentle process. When you get there, most likely you'll be greeted by a spirit guide. The guide will tell you what's important to know about the past life and how it's relevant to your current lifetime. And then the guide will take you to what is called your council of elders. The council consists of the very wise, loving, and highly evolved beings who oversee your personal evolution. They know literally everything about you. So when you get to your council, you can ask any questions you have about your life or any subject at all. And if it's for your highest good, they will give you an answer. Most people ask, what did I plan? Why did I make those plans? How am I doing in terms of fulfilling my plans? And how can I better fulfill my plans? So by the time this process is done, you should have a much better idea of the answers to those questions. For many people, it's a life-changing experience. A lot of people will comment about the unconditional love and total non-judgment they feel from their counsel. And they'll say things like, I could tell that my counsel knew everything about me, including all the bad things I've done in my life, but they love me unconditionally anyway. And for many people, that's actually their first experience of unconditional love since coming into body. So it's really a homecoming of sorts. We have our next BLSR workshop on April 13th. And for anybody who's interested, please feel free to join us. You can read more about it on the website, which is yoursoulsplan.com. And if you go to the events page, just scroll down to the listing for April 13, click on the link there, and that will take you to a page with all the information. The other thing I'd like to share with you, sometimes when people hear me say we plan our lives before we're born, they misinterpret that statement to mean that everything is predestined, everything is written in stone. And that is not at all what I'm saying. Let me explain it this way. My wife is a channel. She channels a group consciousness, a collective that we call the beings of light. And the way the beings of light have explained it to us, they say, imagine that you have a stack of sheets of paper in front of you. Every single sheet in the stack is a complete set of pre-birth plans. So every individual has their own stack of sheets of paper. The sheets vary according to vibration or frequency. The sheets at the top of the stack are the highest vibrational pre-birth plans. Those are the ones where most of the learning is done through love, peace, and joy, not so much through pain and suffering. Sheets at the bottom are the opposite. That's where most of the learning is done through pain and suffering, not so much through love, peace, and joy. So people are constantly bouncing up and down in their stack of sheets of paper, depending upon their vibration. What we all want is to learn through love, peace, and joy and minimize suffering. So how do you do that? Well, you move up in your stack of sheets of paper by raising your vibration. And the most simple way to do that, not always the easiest, but the most simple, is to ask yourself the following question. Anytime you have to make a decision, ask yourself, what would love with a capital L do now? Whatever that is, do that. The more often you do it, the more consistently you do it, the more you move up in your stack of sheets of paper, and the more you get to love, peace, and joy, and less pain and suffering. So those are the main ideas I wanted to share with you tonight, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, one question which coming in my mind, how can people access their soul's wisdom without undergoing a regression session? It is possible.
There are a number of ways to tap into what you planned before you were born. Two of the easiest things to do are look for feelings of excitement and joy. Whatever you are excited about in life, there's something there that's probably part of your pre-birth plan. Whatever is inherently joyful for you, there's something there that's part of your pre-birth plan. Excitement and joy are communications direct from your soul saying, yes, this is the way for you. Another thing to look for, any activity that creates what we could call the flow state or time distortion. So probably for every one of you, there's at least one activity that when you do it, it will feel to you like only 10 minutes have gone by. But when you look at the clock, it'll be 2 hours later. Any activity that creates that kind of time distortion or flow state for you, there's something there that's part of your pre-birth plan. The other thing to look for, specifically in regard to challenges, in one of the channeling sessions with Jesus in one of my books, I asked him, how does somebody know if they planned a challenge before they were born? And he had a very interesting and surprising response. He said, anytime you have the thought, this should not be happening, that thought almost always indicates that it's something you yourself planned before you were born. So that's another thing to look for.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, friends, yeah, you can raise your hands and unmute yourself if you have any question.
Hi, sir. I deeply appreciate your work and the insight the book provides on the pre-birth planning. I just have a question regarding soul contract. My question is, how can one recognize when a soul contract is meant to be worked through and when it is time to release it?
That's a very good question, and I'm not sure that there's any really clear-cut way to do that other than to just trust your intuition. There are the identical circumstances for two different people. One could be they're supposed to stay and work through something difficult. The other could be that they're supposed to leave. And the only way to really get at that is just to trust your intuition. I'll give you an example. I have a friend in the UK who is in a marriage that is not very good. And his wife treats him with really complete disregard and views him solely as a means of income and is really not loving to him at all. Now, in many situations, for many people, a marriage like that, the pre-birth plan would be, if they can't turn it around, would be to leave the relationship. But he knows intuitively that he is supposed to stay with her and make the very, very best of this, love her unconditionally. It's a testament to his strength. It's a testament to perseverance. He just knows intuitively he's supposed to stay in this marriage and let it teach him. And the only way he knows that is through his intuition.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, then we master.
Like one more question, like you said that if somebody raises their vibration, What if the person, like two persons are together and one tries to raise his vibration and the other one is not doing anything? What happens then?
That those two people are in relationship with each other.
Yes.
If the discrepancy in vibration is big enough and if it lasts long enough over time, then eventually the relationship is just going to naturally dissolve. The only way two people can stay together for any great length of time is if their vibrations are more or less similar.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's very tough to maintain the similar vibration if we are in a relationship. How can we manage this? Again, yeah.
Again, it all comes back to love. Just keep asking yourself, what would love say now? What would love do now? Love with a capital L. As long as you do that, you're taking responsibility for your vibration. And you're also carving an energetic pathway that the other person can follow in if they choose to. But they have to choose to. You can't vibrate for anybody else.
But what if we are to trying to like manage our vibration, but what about the other person? Like,
Again, all you can do is take responsibility for your vibration and set an example. So what will happen many times is that as you raise your vibration, you move up in that stack of sheets of paper that I talked about, you bring more love, peace, and joy into your life. You'll just be a happier person. And this person that you're in a relationship with will see that you are happy. And they may very well ask you about it. What's your secret? How did you do it? If they don't ask you about it, they're still going to notice, and they're going to be watching very closely to see how you did it. So you're always teaching, whether the other person asks or not, they notice, and you are always teaching. So just take responsibility for your own vibration, teach love, and the rest is up to the other person.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Grace Master, please ask your question.
Hello, welcome. And
Thank you.
it's really nice. Can you see me there or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like we were just talking about the same topic, and you gave the example of your friend. So I think that example suits very well with that situation, like because your friend knows like intuitively that he wants to stay in that relationship. So I think that example is really a good one. So my question to you, remember you said that the 0.2 and the 0.5, you said they both are similar. I understood the 0.5 very well, like because you want to heal your beliefs and all that. But the second point is only healing. So what exactly is the difference? Why did you have to create this fifth point, which is somewhat similar to the healing point?
It is somewhat similar. It's just that it's a particular specific form of healing, and it's so commonplace in our world today that I just wanted to highlight it in my presentation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but number 5 is really a subset of
Yes.
number 2.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I have one more question. Like when we make when the soul makes the plan, at that time, soul chooses his own parents, right? Is that right? They choose
Yeah, you choose your parents, and your parents choose you.
Okay, but what happens for the first time when the soul is coming on the earth? What criteria is there to decide for the soul to choose one particular set of parents?
Well, it depends very much on what the soul wants to learn. So in the case of a soul that's incarnating for the very first time on Earth, many souls in that situation, since they've never been here before, their primary interest at first is just to explore physical survival on the physical plane. So they would be likely to incarnate in a place like Africa, for example, which lends itself to that kind of exploration. And they would choose parents who in one way or another could contribute to learning about how to survive physically on the earth plane.
Yes, but why, like on what basis are you saying that Africa only? Why is
It doesn't have to be Africa. I'm just saying a
Okay.
place like that where there's perhaps more of a struggle for survival than in other parts of the world.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Anjali ji, unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful book. All books are really wonderful, immense, having immense knowledge and eye-opening for me.
Thank
My
you.
thought process is completely changed after reading those books. We are still in the process, like still we are finishing those books. But I have one question, like what from you have shared your wisdom. We have point number 1, like balancing karma and releasing karma. And the third one is service to others. So my question is, can we release our karma? I don't know what karmas I have created from my past lives. But now, after reading these books, I would like to release my karma, like dissolve as much as possible in this life form, because I don't know whether I will be in this path again in my next life, or, I don't know about future. So if I got that realization now, can we release our karmas by doing service to others? And what is the highest form of service?
You can certainly balance and release karma through service to others. The highest form of service is just going to be the most loving person that you can be, and to respond less from the personal self and more from what we could call the infinite self or the true self. So, in other words, when things come up that cause aversion or resistance in you, when things come up that cause anger or frustration or impatience in you, instead of immediately identifying with it and enacting it in the world, just think of it as a storm cloud that's passing through the sky of your consciousness, and let it pass through without responding to it. When you do that, you literally change your karma. There's a ripple effect throughout time and space, throughout the Akashic field. And it changes not only your karma, it changes the karma of the parallel selves, the parallel yous in parallel dimensions. The ripple effect is profound. So you're just responding from the infinite self or from your soul, however you want to think about it, less from the personal self, less from the ego.
Yeah. And one more thing is like one more quick question.
Mm-hmm.
We have like non-interference, right? We should not interfere in other souls' plan. But if someone is coming to us for help again and again for his life, is it okay to interfere? It's like a major shift in his life for that kind of things, or we already plan that with that person.
Well, it depends on what you mean by interference. If somebody is coming to you and asking for your help, then that wouldn't constitute interference.
Okay.
What you don't want is to override somebody else's free will. That's what constitutes interference.
Okay. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, next. Nidhi Agrawal, please unmute yourself. Please unmute.
So can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes. Yeah.
So firstly, deep gratitude for your books, for your wisdom, sir. I'm sure along with me, many have changed their lives, sir. Deep gratitude. So two questions, sir. Maybe I don't know if like those questions are relevant or not. So firstly, we say that the soul is the ever. It knows everything. It knows everything. It is a spark of the omnipresent God. But so then why the soul chooses all these lives just to experience itself? Because the soul is already, it knows everything. Then just by contrast, as it chooses, and when it comes to earth, it gets caught up in the this recycled birth, incarnation, and everything. And so the second question is like, if they say that in oneness, nothing is good or bad, the soul chooses its experience, it wants to experience everything, then sir, why it gets caught up in the act of this karma or reincarnation? Because if nothing is good or bad, if everything is just for the sake of experience, then why this karma is built up, sir? Like, how do we build this karma if there is no one to judge us? If it's only we, if I'm judging for myself, and if there's no good or bad, then whatever I have done, if I just move on, then how this karma builds up, sir? Would be very obliged if you could answer this, sir.
I wouldn't say that the soul knows everything. The soul certainly has a much more expanded viewpoint than the incarnate personality, but I don't think I would say that the soul knows everything. I asked the question you just asked of Jesus in one of the channeling sessions for the book, and he said that the soul is a combination of light and dark, and it's in a process of purification. In other words, it's shedding the darkness and increasing the light quotient. So it does that in part through the incarnations on Earth and the things that it learns here. Also, the soul just wants to have experiences. It wants to experience everything. On the other side, where we're in this realm of unconditional love, there's no contrast, like I was talking about earlier. So, for example, if you want to know what forgiveness is, somebody has to be doing something that you feel you need to forgive. Well, on the other side, nobody is doing that. But if you want to learn what forgiveness is, you need to come into body, and somebody's got to play a role for you in which they do something that you now feel you need to forgive. Compassion, for example. The act of feeling compassion while incarnate in a physical body, that's what the soul wants. That's a very sweet experience for the soul. You can be on the other side and you can talk about compassion all you want to, but when you come into body and you have a bodily experience of it, that's a completely different kind of learning. And the soul very much wants that kind of experience, that kind of learning. In terms of your question about karma, again, as I understand it, karma is just a feeling of incompletion or unbalanced energy. And it's you yourself who decides whether or not an experience is incomplete or unbalanced for you. So you have a life review at the end of each lifetime, and you see scenes from the previous life. You're shown, your vibration in different scenes, where you were loving, where you were not, where you were compassionate, where you were not. If you feel complete with learning about love, then you have no karma in that area. If you feel complete with your lessons about compassion, then you have no karma in that area. But if you acted unlovingly or with a lack of compassion when you were in body, it's very unlikely that you would see that in the life review and say, oh, I feel complete with that. On the contrary, you would probably feel incomplete with that, and you would plan other experiences in the next lifetime to finish those lessons. Karma is not a punishment, and it's not decided by any being or counsel external to you. You decide for yourself in the life review.
Thank you so much. So sir,
Yeah.
suppose, sir, just one question in continuation of what you said, sir. Sir, suppose I did something wrong, or like intentionally I didn't do something wrong, but later I realized that I did something wrong. So sir, when I'm transferred to the other side of the realm, I feel that okay, this was not intentionally, and if I feel that it was not an act of such wrong thing, then can I just take it as an experience and move ahead, sir?
You can, absolutely. Yeah.
So just on the way of my thinking, what beliefs I'm carrying with myself, they play an important role on deciding my next course of journey.
Yeah, very much so. I'll give you an example. Those of you who have read either my second or third book, you know that one of the channeled sources is an ascended master named Aaron, and Aaron is channeled by an American woman named Barbara Brodsky. Barbara and Aaron had an incarnation together. It was somewhere in Southeast Asia, and I believe they were both monks. They were out in the countryside one day, and something happened in which one person, they witnessed one person attacking and killing another person. I think it was with a bow and an arrow. And neither one of them was able to prevent the death of the other person. So Aaron was at a state in his evolution in which he knew that he had done his best. He didn't blame himself for not preventing the other person's death. And so when that incarnation was over, he was finished with his incarnations in the earthly realm. That was actually his final lifetime. Barbara also could do nothing to prevent the death of this other person, but she was at a state of her evolution in which she blamed herself. She felt she should have done something, even though she couldn't. She blamed herself and felt responsible. That created a feeling of incompletion, which pulled her back into another incarnation. But if she had been able to do what Erin did, if she had been able to truly say to herself, I could not have prevented that death, I'm not to blame here, she would not have had to come back either.
Thank you so much. Understood.
Mhm.
Yeah. Puja Master, please ask your question.
Today. And thank you for sharing the wisdom in this session and through the books. Thank you so much. I have two questions actually. First question is, what is the difference between PLR and BSLR? And second question is, through BSLR, can we tap into past life or previous life abilities or those special abilities we have from the past life and tap into it and use it for this lifetime to fulfill those goals or soul's purposes quickly? Can we change that in our plan, which we have already made before our birth?
The difference between a PLSR and a BLSR, PLSR is a past life soul regression. It's strictly just a past life. So that's the entirety of the experience. I used to offer those. I don't offer them anymore. The BLSR has a past life component in it. It's a small portion of the overall experience, and it's not nearly as important as the part where you talk to your council of elders, but it's included as part of the experience. In terms of your second question, I'm not sure about the answer to that because I've actually never had a client who tried to do that. You could certainly ask your council, what are the talents I created in past lives? Can I have them activated now to use in my current lifetime? I'm not sure how the council would respond to that, but you could certainly make that request.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, Pavitra ji, please ask your question.
Good
So we
evening,
have
sir.
lots of questions, sir.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for all the wisdom that you have been sharing with us. My doubts are like, first one, the concept of the stack of papers where one person, like we, because we're in the path of enlightenment, we're trying to move ourselves up, but the other person in the relationship is not able to do that. My question is, does this concept apply to us versus our parents also? Like, we are trying to move in the higher realm, and the parents are, because sometimes we have parents who are not supportive of what we are trying to pursue. So does that concept apply to even parents? If it does, then how to handle a situation like that?
Yeah, so just because parents aren't being supportive of what you want to pursue doesn't mean that you can't raise your vibration and move up in the stack of sheets of paper. I'll give you an example. A lot of the pre-birth planning of challenges is motivated by a desire to cultivate certain virtues or qualities that are important to the soul. The challenge is planned before birth because it provides the opportunity and the motivation to cultivate the virtue. One of the virtues that's very important to the soul is something called self-referencing. Self-referencing means you come to see yourself as the highest and best source of wisdom and knowledge for you. It doesn't mean you don't consult with others, but if you do, you take what they've told you, run it past your own intuition, and you decide, is that truth for you? So if you have parents who are not supporting you, that could very well be a challenge you planned before you were born to get yourself to become more self-referencing. In other words, the pre-birth hope is that you will eventually stand up for yourself, think for yourself, make your own decisions, do what is right for you, regardless of whether or not your parents are supporting you. When you do that, there's a tremendous increase in your vibration, and you move way up in the stack of sheets of paper.
Then are we not labeled as mean? Like pursuing our goals, people will be telling like you never bothered for us. So how would the karma place?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
I said when we try to apply this concept and we are trying to do something for our good, then we might get a blame like you are being mean and
Right.
away your responsibilities, not taking care of your parents. So how to balance that negative thoughts of karma and moving up in the stack of sheets?
The way to balance that is to always express your truth with loving kindness. So you would say to your parents, this is what I think, this is what I have decided, I know that this is what I must do, but you would say it in a gentle, loving, and kind way. Speaking one's truth courageously, but with loving kindness, is a very, very common lesson for many, many people at this time in human evolution. So just remember, speak your truth courageously, but with loving kindness.
Thank you. And my last question is, after a long time, the previous memories come back. So what is the relation of things that come back to our mind after 15 years of gap? Like we forget them, we move them, we heal ourselves. We just keep on moving ahead. But one fine day, out of no reason, some memories just creep up. Some people are running on your mind for no reason. So how to avoid that?
I don't know that you can avoid that. That's just the nature of the human mind at this time in human evolution. It's basically a thought-generating machine. And you can't stop thoughts from, at least the average person can't stop thoughts from coming. But all you can do is relate skillfully to the thoughts. So the way to do that, a common metaphor here is to think of yourself as the sky, and any thoughts that are floating, that are coming up are like clouds floating through the sky. So what you want is to not go into aversion or grasping in regard to any of the clouds, any of the thoughts. If you think about what actually happens when a cloud floats through the sky doesn't say, I like that particular cloud, and then try to grab it and hold on to it. It also doesn't say, I don't like that cloud, and try to push it away. The sky is just the sky. All clouds are welcome to hang around as long as they want to hang around. So you are the sky, and any thoughts that the mind presents to you are these clouds. Don't try to push them away. Don't try to hold on to them. That's the best way to relate to them.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm good with my questions. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity.
You're welcome. Yeah, Shruti ji, please unmute yourself.
Is
Yes.
time travel real?
Oh, yes. Please ask your question.
Is time travel real?
My understanding, yes, it is real. Yeah. Are you planning to time travel?
Yeah. I would like to.
Well, tell your parents before you do that. Otherwise, if you disappear, they're going to wonder where you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So do you have again any question, Grace Master? You have raised your hand.
Ritu Master, we have one question in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take chat box options later. Let's finish as the hand raises.
I have tons of questions.
So let's give
Okay.
the chance to others also.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Let's take to Srinath ji.
Yeah, Srinath ji, please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. Lots of gratitude to you for making me to read your this soul plan when I joined this PSSM. So that entire being of myself changed. The view of used to have blame all others and cry for everything, whatever happened in my life. So even though I'm there in this PSSM last 4 years, so they say that through meditation and through book reading and through the Sajjan Sangha, that is combination of experiences, we can eradicate uh, our all the previous karmas as such. Even though still I'm not sure, I feel that I'm in a right path and I'm in a proper way. So the thing is like right from childhood, I've been facing a lot of like initially when I was young, I used faced a lot of health issues, different kinds of health issues, and there afterwards again. And again in the career wise had to face job struggle in the job, getting the job late, and there afterwards, my brother forced me to get married, even though I was not willing to get married. I got married. And then even after marriage, I had to face some job issues, like I had to lose and again get the job. And then again, there afterwards, had to face the issues in terms of what you say, what in terms of relationship issues, and now again financial issues. So and even I tried to get the PLR done for 2 sessions. So there I found that in that previous incarnation, like my wife actually had made me to drown in water. The reason was that I had cheated some property issue. For that reason, she had drowned me in the water, and because of that I still have that cold and other stuff, so health issues sometimes I'm facing. So and I made all the kinds of whatever releasing all that, asking for the forgiveness, all those things, and still I am facing that financial rises, and whatever the things suggested by our senior masters, all I'm following. I'm not sure, but still I really want to get rid of these financial things at any cost, but still I'm somewhere getting stuck up, not sure. So what best I can do, request from you.
So again, it really comes back to raising your vibration, which means being as peaceful, as loving, as happy, as joyful as you can be. So when you have a lot of challenges in your life, there's a very natural tendency to focus on them, think about them, constantly try to figure out what can I do. And this often backfires because, you know, there's an old expression, energy flows where attention goes. So whatever you give attention to, you're giving energy to, and you're therefore strengthening it. So if you have a lot of personal challenges, the more you think about them, the more you're actually energizing or vitalizing those challenges. So the thing to do, and there's a real skill to it, it takes practice. You want to think about the difficulties in your life only as much as you absolutely have to in order to deal with them effectively. And then spend the rest of your time thinking about anything at all that makes you happy or peaceful or joyful. An analogy I like to use, you know, if you think about what happens when you park your car somewhere, you take a second after you get out of the car to lock it, and then you go about your business. So you think about preventing the theft of the car only that 1 second that you need to in order to actually do something about it. And then you go and do whatever you're going to do, and you don't think about it again. If you continue to think somebody might be stealing my car, I wonder if somebody is stealing my car, that would increase the likelihood that somebody is going to steal your car. Mm-hmm. So think about the issues in your life only as much as you absolutely have to deal with them, and then think about happy things.
Okay. Got it. So you mean to say that we have to forget everything, don't think about anything at all?
Well, you can't really stop the mind from generating thoughts, but what you want to do is let the negative thoughts go by and focus your energy on the positive thoughts. So there's a process you can use where If you feel like your vibration is low and you'd like to raise it, you consciously choose a thought that feels good and that you know is true. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be related to whatever problem you're dealing with. So you think that thought. And then you consciously choose the next thought that feels just a little bit better than the one you just thought, and that you also know is true. And you just keep going like that in a stepwise fashion from one thought to another, choosing only thoughts that you know are true. And each subsequent thought should feel a little bit better, a little bit lighter, a little bit happier than the previous one. And if you keep doing that, you'll find that it greatly elevates your vibration, and often pretty quickly.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can we take some more questions, sir?
Yeah, I have about 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Ishita.
So, Ishita, please, try to ask your
Uh,
question short way.
yeah, okay. So, yeah, hi, sir, and like lots of gratitude that I could see you live. Am I audible?
Yes.
You did
So,
hear.
yeah, okay. So, my question is like there are some situations in have like faced in my life is that where I know like I am doing wrong, but my intuition is that you have to do this, okay? And I did this, and for that I hurt a person in my life, and after that like there was a drastic change in both of our lives, like like we like understood the like power of universe, like lot of changes were there in both of our lives. So my question is that like why would I choose a bad karma, and I know that I am doing wrong but still I did it? So why would I choose a bad karma for as a plan of my soul's
Notice.
plan?
Well, I don't know that I would put it that way. Before you come into body, your pre-birth intentions are very loving. And you hope on the soul level that you will be the most loving, joyful, peaceful, kind, gentle, compassionate, caring person you can possibly be. But you also know that there are going to be challenges, and you know that you're going to be dealing with the human ego, and you know that the ego is going to suggest that you do things that are self-serving, but not for the highest good of others. And you're willing to take the chance that for some portion of the lifetime, or maybe even all of it, that you'll follow the ego, because that's how true learning happens. You have a free will choice: follow the ego or follow the calling of the soul. And it's the free will that makes the experience in the Earth School meaningful. If you didn't have the choice, then you would just be an automaton, and there wouldn't be any true learning that would actually occur. So, you know, if you made choices that are not as loving as they could have been, just forgive yourself. Understand that this is the nature of the human experience, the nature of the egoic experience, the nature of the Earth School. And the other thing I'll say about that, you know, your mistakes lead to your growth, and your growth is your service to other people. That means that your mistakes lead to your service to other people, assuming that you grow from them. So mistakes are a big part of the Earth experience. You actually come here for the purpose of making mistakes so that you will learn, so that you will grow, and your growth will be your service. You're welcome.
Yes. Sakshi ji, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much for ma'am for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much, sir, for existence. Your books made our life so beautiful and meaningful. I want to ask you 2 questions, and both are related to each other. Like, first one is, what surprised you the most about during the writing process? Okay, sir, first of all. And the second question is, what was the most unexpected challenge you encountered while writing this book?
What was the first question? What surprised me about what?
What surprised you the most during the writing process?
I think
While
that
writing your book. Yes.
Yeah, the sheer number of decisions that have to be made. There are choices about which words to use, how to order the sentences, how to order the paragraphs, how to order the chapters. There's just a million little decisions on every single page. And that was surprising to me the first time I wrote a book.
Okay, sir. And the second one, most unexpected challenge you encountered? Like any challenge, unexpected?
Not that it was unexpected, but sometimes when I look for people to interview for the case studies in the books, when they hear the premise that they themselves planned some big challenge that they're going through, that idea is not palatable to every person. And so there have been a number of people along the way that I would have liked to have told their stories in my book, but when they heard the premise, they said, sorry, but I can't accept that. So, and that's fine. I mean, that's their free will choice.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Deepaji, please first ask your question.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful books, life-changing books for all of us, and really, it's a true blessing for all of us. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Sir, my question is, if in my family, suppose my sister and her family, they are in depression, and it's from past many years, they are into this, from let's say 25 years, 30 years, and we're not able to understand how to help them. And secondly, is it also planned between us, like and it's just that we not able to really understand, whether whether this is will create any karma or not, because both the things happens. You want to help, and if you also feel that if you're not doing it, it means you're creating a karma, and not able to really how to go about it. It's very hard to see like this, because all three of them are into depression and not in a very good state.
Yeah, it's not so much that the depression itself was planned before birth, but the things that led to the depression were probably planned before birth. And it was foreseen that depression might be the response to those things. And the soul's attitude is something like, if the depression happens, that's okay. I'm willing to work with that. So the soul is willing to take that chance in order to have the other experiences that led to the depression. In terms of what you can do, not much other than just love these people unconditionally. If your love is truly unconditional, not dependent upon anything, not dependent upon them getting out of depression, not dependent upon them changing anything they're doing, the power of unconditional love is just miraculous. So the irony is that if you can love them unconditionally, meaning you're not trying to get them to be not depressed, that actually creates the soil, the fertile ground in which depression becomes less likely for them. It's all about the love being unconditional.
Okay, sir. Sir, but it's not only, it's like totally when you see them financially, physically, mentally, totally, they're not stable and not in a very good condition. And two of them wants to come out of it, but one of them is again because of depression, because of the state of mind is, uh, has a power to, you know, dominate things, not able to let any help come to their way. So this is the case.
What you can do for them that would be most helpful, whenever you think about them, whenever you're with them, whenever you talk to them, whenever you look at them, look beyond the personality level, look beyond the depression, and see the soul that is animating the body. The soul is not depressed. It's the personality that is depressed. If you can look beyond the personality level and really see that these people are divine, infinite, eternal, loving souls, and hold that in your consciousness, that could help them to pull out of the depression over time. In my second book, Your Soul's Gift, there's a chapter about the pre-birth planning of mental illness. And there's a discussion in there between Jesus and the woman who is the subject of the chapter, who has a very severe form of psychosis. And he says to her at one point in the discussion, "I know who you really are." That might be the most important sentence in the entire book. And what he's saying there is what I just said to you. He knows who she really is. She's not the personality that has the psychosis. She is this beautiful, brilliant, light-filled, love-filled soul animating the body that has the psychosis. So by telling her that he knows who she really is, he's calling her into remembrance of who she really is. Now, she has to be ready to remember. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. Maybe your loved ones are ready to remember, maybe they're not. We don't know. But if you can hold in mind who they really are and what they really are, it creates the conditions in which they might remember. And if they remember, that will pull them out of the depression.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ritu, I apologize, but I am going to have to get going.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your great wisdom. I really appreciate your time and the knowledge you have shared. So, I need to ask, like, what is the one key message from your soul's gift that you hope everyone takes away from this session?
The one key message is that whatever your challenges are, no matter what they may be, no matter how severe they might be, no matter how much suffering there might be, the experiences are not random, they're not arbitrary, they're not devoid of purpose, they're not meaningless. There's always, always, always deeper purpose and deeper meaning. Even if you don't know what the deeper purpose and meaning are, just be certain that there is deeper meaning and deeper purpose. And that knowledge alone will alleviate some of the suffering.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once
You're
again, with
welcome.
gratitude and respect, love from all of us at PSSM Divine Shine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. And I wish all of you all blessings going forward. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, friends, thank you for joining us today. So, we'll have another session yesterday, Your Soul's Gift, which we are going. Yeah, Rashri ji, you want to ask anything? So, please join the session.
Ma'am, I want to ask you.
Yes.
I'm by profession gynecologist,
Mhm.
and sometimes, in spite of all our efforts, we see some challenging issues in the newborn's journey or the mother's journey during pregnancy or during labor, during miracle moment, during delivery. So, how to understand this? Is it a part of soul to live in between? Sometimes after 9 months. Sometimes mother lives in between the journey. Being a doctor, we see so many patients. So how to correlate it with it? So is it a soul's plan? Then many times our efforts, how to correlate it all? Because being a doctor, once life goes away, so we feel so sad about it.
So
Or any
definitely it's a
newborn
soul
also.
plan. So yeah, definitely it's a soul plan. And the detailed explanation we're going to share in tomorrow's session. So please join the session. You will get the depth knowledge. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So may I know you are joining from which place?
Surat, Gujarat.
Surat, Gujarat. Yeah, nice to have you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, masters. We'll meet again tomorrow with a new topic with our soul's gift book with Robert Schwartz. So again, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Lots of love to all of you.